So sorry, we just had a false start there. I forgot to share the link. So here we go again. It is Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, and again we're approaching the end of this year. We're approaching the end of 2020. Hopefully, we'll get through it better than we anticipated a few months ago, but we'll see, right? So here we go. This one I wanted to share a little bit. I'm one of those people. I'm very nostalgic. I like kind of going back and looking at things at certain points in my life, and with the way that my memory functions, it's almost like I can. Well, most people probably like this, but it feels like I'm back there. It doesn't feel like so many years have passed. So I'd like to go back to 1997, the summer, late spring, early summer of 1997, because it was a real pivotal point in my life. I remember when I moved to Southern California, that was July 14th, 1997. Why do I remember that? Because that was a huge change in my life, and it's impacted it ever since. And in some ways, it wasn't so great, and in others, it was just fantastic. And I'm still feeling that joy, that joy from that. That's where I met my wife, Maria, in Southern California. That's where I met some of my soon-to-be roommates and classmates at a Bible college, at Spirit Life Bible College, where Robert Lurden was the pastor. And this, again, is back in the summer of 97. Met some really great friends there. Some of you are still in touch on Facebook, and that's awesome. Some are no longer with us, and that's sad. While they're on the other side of glory, not feeling any pain and rejoicing with Christ, still we miss them on this side. But wanted to take you back. So 1997 was an important year. It was a really big year for me. And so it was interesting because I was 22 years old at the time. I was 22, and I remember that it was either spring or early summer. I want to say it was around June. I wish my memory was a little bit better. But many of the younger men in our church, 18 and up, we actually went to Reno. We lived in Modesto at the time, and in that area, Central California. We actually went to Reno to a pastor named Chris Vigil's church, and they were having, I believe it was a conference that weekend. Again, my memory is a little bit fuzzy about it, but there are certain things that I recall. And so I just remember it was very cold, and the chairs were the folding metal chairs that we were on. So it was not a good time for a lot of us, but it was a good sermon. I'm sure I have my notes for it somewhere packed away in storage, as I tended to take notes. But the interesting thing that always pops up in my head was we were staying in a casino, like a hotel casino in Reno. I don't remember the name of it. I do remember that I was over 21 because it was in 1997. I would have been 22 and a half at that point. I didn't gamble, still don't. But we were there, and I just couldn't sleep. And I was there with my cousin Jeremy was there. Our mutual friend, I believe, his friend Francisco, who ended up being our roommate as well in Southern California. He traveled there as well, if I can remember right. I'm pretty sure that's right. And so we were there for that conference. And so I just remember I couldn't sleep. And it was about between 2 and 3 in the morning. And I just got up and I decided to walk around. Now, the casino, everything was still open downstairs. And so, which is kind of funny because if not for me really not liking gambling and drinking, I'd probably fit in Vegas or somewhere like that where they're up pretty much all night. So, but I just remember walking around, and I remember taking the elevator down, and in the elevator, and as I got out of the elevator, even in the hallway, I guess the sound system was kind of connected. And the song called Staring at the Sun, S-U-N, by U2 came on. It was a newer song. Came out, I believe, in right around April of 97. So it was out maybe a month or so. And I remember hearing that song, and it just fascinated me. I was like, this is phenomenal. I liked U2, growing up, of course, growing up in the 80s and 90s. But this song in particular really stuck with me. I loved the background. I loved the music. Of course, the Edge always plays wonderful on the guitar, and Bono's lyrics were just on point. Everything about that song I just really loved. And it's like a memory stuck in my mind, like a moment in time that just stays there. And again, there were even people from that church that actually went to Robert's Lurden School at Spirit Life Bible College, SLBC, that year as well. I remember 2 young men from that church in particular actually went there and were classmates of mine. So interestingly enough, this song has stuck with me. So I remember as soon as I could find it, I bought that single. And so the album, I believe it was called Pop. it didn't do very good at all. The album, it's not really critically acclaimed as far as I know. It didn't sell like they wanted it to. But U2 has always been sort of they can be more experimental and just kind of go off in different ways. And then they come out with an album like Beautiful Day, which is right all that you can't leave behind. Sorry, the single was Beautiful Day, but that are just phenomenal, right? Achtung Baby, another phenomenal record by that group. What does this have to do with anything? Well, I'm just taking you on a trip down my memory lane to show you sort of the interesting things that I picked up along the way. And I just remember driving back, and my cousin Jeremy was driving at that point. We were driving back from Reno, and he was playing. I don't know if I gave it to him or bought him one, but it was like the Gospel Gangsters Do or Die CD. It's a gospel hip hop and rap group. And so I remember listening to that on the way back. But what really stuck again was U2's Staring at the Sun. And so I remember that. It was just a great memory. And it started off for me to be a really good summer. We went to Camp Santa Cruz after that. I remember my dad, Stuart, and my cousins and some of the other folks there. And my dad was pretending to be, because he had that thick mustache, he was acting like Bernie from that film Weekend at Bernie's. And so he's sitting there, and like my cousins have his arms around their shoulder, and they're like dragging him around like he was dead, you know. It was funny. It was really hilarious. And I didn't get any photos. I hope somebody did somewhere out there, and they're still, you know, they're still somewhere out there, I guess. But it was a fun time. So we did Camp Santa Cruz, and then right after that, I had moved to Southern California. And I was bummed. I was so depressed about moving. We were very active in the church itself, and it was 9 of us actually from our church went down there, and then most of us ended up coming back, some sooner than others, and so, but it was a good learning experience, and I met Maria there. I mean, so all of this kind of ties in together, and this nostalgia and this sort of romantic sentiment, and here we are at the holidays in 2020, but still, I heard that song, and you know, I just remember those times. It kind of evokes and brings back those memories. And so, of course, I think of my wife when I hear that song too, just because it's a beautiful song, and I have a beautiful wife and kids. And so, and the way it came about was last night, this whole thing was prompted by my daughter, Audrey. She came out and asked about a particular song that had a willow tree in it. Well, it wasn't this one, but I told her, hey, I know another one. And it's U2's, right? In the Shade of a Willow Tree. And so, it's one of the lyrics there, and so it's quite interesting. But it's a good song, Staring at the Sun, and you know, not everybody likes it, but I think it's just a phenomenal song. And I just remember hearing it, walking by myself, because I couldn't sleep, and I was just, you know, kind of in that attitude of, wow, this is all new to me. I'd grown up in Merced, I lived in Modesto, but I wasn't used to a lot of different places, or certainly going out of state all that much. And so for me, it was sort of that. If we're reading like Joseph Campbell, it's sort of like that threshold when you step across that breach, or you step across those boundaries, and you're going into the unknown, that deep and dark forest, right? You're crossing over it through the cave, or into the, you know, up on the mountain or something. So for me, it sort of represents that as well. And again, I was, you know, just over 22 at the time, and I just see that song sort of as a starting point. Even though it was mid-year, I see it as a starting point for everything that occurred in my life, sort of from then on. So I don't know. I just thought I'd share that with somebody. Again, it was a good trip. We had a really great time. It was a lot of fun. And I remember that song playing in the elevator, playing as I'm walking down the hallway. And I can remember that memory. And I remember the carpet was sort of a goldish, not really gold, but like a sort of a goldish bronze kind of. And the inside of the elevator also was like a brass, which a lot of them are. I get it, but I just remember those colors and even sort of the pattern. I can kind of pick it up in my head if I think about it. So again, and I think again, that was one of the things that sort of marks that change in my life. You know, within a month or two, we were down in Southern California. We had moved, completely separated from most of our family, and you know, we all went through the growing pains and things like that. But it was an amazing time. You know, from everything from, you know, kicking that possum off of my sister's doorstep, which it did rush at me and hiss. So I kind of gave it a boot. Didn't get hurt. It landed in a sand pit, in a volleyball pit. You know, that iguana out there sunning itself. I do miss the 24-hour gym. We had a small gym there with like circuit weights, you know, with the cable bars and, you know, the exercise, those machines and things like that, and the rowing machine. I remember I'd max it out. I put 200 on there and I would just row for a half an hour. And so I miss that too. I miss that sort of the newness. And I don't miss it in the sense that I wish I was back there, but kind of like everything, those horizons were new, everything, all the experiences were new. And God has blessed me so much since then. Having gone through very, very hard times and you know, the wilderness, so to speak, at some points in my life with my wife. But my wife has been there. I mean, how many people can say that, right? 21 years later, 23 years as a couple and 21 years married. And we're still there. That's pretty awesome. I mean, that's an awesome thing. And that's a testament to her patience and her loving kindness, right? Because I can test that at times. I can test that. And I'm not always an easy guy to get along with, but you know, just thank you for taking this trip with me. It was kind of fun. So again, that song, my daughter said that phrase last night, that song came into my mind, and boom, here we are. And it's still on my playlist. It's still in my car. It's saved as an MP3 in there. So, well, listen, I've got laundry to take out. So you guys, God bless. Might be on here in a little bit. I don't know. I'm starting to decorate a little bit in the back. You can see I have a little dog Santa outfit here in case anyone's wondering what that is. And it's not great. I'm not a designer. I'm not a decorator, but I just tossed some stuff up at lunch today while I was doing class and thought it was kind of cool. And you know what? I was actually going to put like wrapping paper in the back on the wall. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And working on better lighting. But listen, you all take care. God bless you. Make some good memories. And if not, think back on some good memories and be inspired. All right. God bless you all. And may he keep you and may he reveal to you his infinite, undying, and unconditional love to you, because he meets you where you are and meets you where you're at. He loves you as you are, and he knows you. He knows you to the innermost depths of your soul, and he loves you anyway. That's an amazing thing. All right, guys, you take care. Need any prayer, let me know, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.